Hey everybody, how are you? Can you hear me? I hope you can hear me. If you guys can hear me, please put a number 1 in the chat. Okay, I think I know what I did. So I'm going to start this video back over. There's not a whole lot of, there's a couple of interviews that you, and let me know if you can hear it. Just give me a moment. I just think it's important that we watch this.
Today marks 5 years since 4 young sisters were killed in a Florida house fire. The fire was ultimately ruled an arson, but since that time, the case remains unsolved. As News 18's Samantha Tiki reports, many questions remain among the community members and the leader of the state's NAACP.
November 21st is a dark day in the Carroll County town of Flora.
The loss of life of little girls were just devastating.
5 years ago, sisters 5-year-old Keani Welch, 7-year-old Carrie-Elle McDonald, 9-year-old Kiara Phillips, and 11-year-old Kiana Davis were killed when their house caught fire. Their mother, Galen Rose, was the only one to make it out of the burning home. Cassandra Hammond's business is across the street from where the burnout home still stands.
That's very.
Okay, guys, I will just let you go watch it. I dropped the trailer early this morning, about 4 o'clock this morning. I can hear it absolutely perfectly on my computer. I can hear it in my headphones when I've got my really good headphones on. I recorded it pretty loud, so I don't know what's going on with, if it's StreamYard, if it's YouTube. I have no idea, because some stuff plays and some stuff doesn't. So I don't get it. But anyway, I made the trailer for Flora because I made a trailer for Delphi way back in February when I started my channel. And I've been recently feeling really guilty that I didn't have a trailer for the girls in Flora. So I added it to my website. You guys can go and look at it if you'd like to there. The videos that I embedded into it that are interviews from news media, I think are important. Some of them I hadn't seen before. So, but there you go. I just wanted you to know that that's why I did it. And I am sorry and I apologize that you guys can't hear it. So that doesn't make me too happy. But one of the things I've noticed right off the bat, most of my stuff when I drop gets enormous views right away. And the Flora stuff just doesn't. And it's just mind-boggling to me, you guys. If I didn't put or tag Delphi in this video in some way, it would be less than half of the normal views that I get on my stuff after it's dropped, after I drop a live stream. And those are one of the things that I've noticed right off about covering Flora. So it's really sobering. But I think it speaks to a lot of the things that we've been talking about the last month or so. And hold on a second, because I need to get out of this video since nobody can see it. So I'm not going to give up. I'm going to keep still talking as loudly as I possibly can about Flora. I just wanted you guys to know the frustration that's out there. And I went tonight before I started, I went and looked at the GoFundMe that Mia Zedong started for the Flora girls, and it hasn't gone up at all since yesterday. In fact, I don't think it's gone up since Tuesday, when I asked everybody to kind of check it out from my live stream. And it is very frustrating. I think it's sitting at $210 right now. And it's just maddening to me. You know, and I'm not here to really gripe, but I just don't understand people that can go into our live streams and go to some of these creators and some of the channels and just throw tons of their money at these creators, but they can't go over to the Flora GoFundMe and give some money to these little girls. It just doesn't make sense to me, I guess. So I'm just going to say, if you guys were thinking of giving me money, to please give it to the GoFundMe. That would really make my heart sore right now, because I just feel awful. And I also think it's the mindset that early on in the Flora case, the public was told that it was accidental. And then the public was told that by law enforcement that the family wasn't cooperating, which is a lie. That is not the truth. And the family has cooperated. So it's, I think the family feels alone out there. Hold on, CJK. Let me get that address for you for the GoFundMe, and I'll drop it in the chat. Here it is, you guys. It's right here. If you guys would bookmark it or whatever and pay attention to that. Hey, Captain. So good to see you. I'm glad you're here with us tonight. Hi, Tech Death. Hey, Just Pam. Tech Death, sorry, I didn't mean to hang up on you, but I knew what was wrong and I was just trying to fix it. But thank you for calling me. Hey, John. Hope everybody's doing well tonight. CJK, so good to see you always. Zooter, Truth Justice, Meow Zedong, so glad you're here with us tonight. Hi, Mary. Diane P. Melodramatic Monday, always a pleasure. I hope that you guys are having a good week. It's almost over. I think I messed up my banner. Just a minute. I'm so sorry, you guys. Okay. Sorry about that. I got it fixed. So many things to talk about tonight. John, thank you for putting their names in the chat. And we always need to remember the 4 little Flora girls. And hey, little Pookie, how are you? Hi, Lipsha. So Meow's got it. The family has asked that all money go to the reward fund. They just want justice. So the Flora Fire Reward Fund is what Meow Zedong was able to set up on GoFundMe. It is set up that all of that money will go to the ISP reward that is being handled by the Indiana Department of Homeland Security. And so we don't need to worry about that tonight. So Michelle, it's so good to have you here. If I didn't say hello to you earlier, I wanted to make sure that I said hello to you. I hope all of you guys are still keeping Jennifer and those that are in harm's way in Southern Illinois in your prayers, because they had major flooding, major damage. People died. And it sounds like the flooding got worse over in Kentucky. And they too have had really bad flooding and people have died. So I just wanted to bring that up. We're going to talk about our missing person. Let me get that brought up here. Oops. I don't think there's anything there. And let's bring her over here. So trying to get my windows to be to where I can work with them. Sorry, guys. Sometimes it's a pain. I'm going to share my screen. Yeah, Mrs. Thing, I hear you. I saw some pictures, and the flooding in Kentucky is horrible. And they had it's okay, Michelle. You can heat up your food and have dinner. Hey, Jennifer, you are here. So good to have you, my dear. We were just talking about you. So I don't think I want to do it this way. I want to do it over here. How is everybody? Just when you think things were going to work out, they don't. Okay. So this is our missing person that we're featuring tonight. Her name is Ashley Loring Heavy Runner. She's from Browning, Montana. And she went missing in June of 2017. She was born November 23rd of 1996 in Browning, Montana. She has dark hair. She's 5'2". She weighed about 90 pounds. She's obviously female. She's Native American. And she has scars and marks. She has a scar in the shape of a check mark on the top of one of her hands. Ashley was last seen the week of June 13th of 2017 in Browning, Montana, on the Blackfeet Indian Reservation. And she has not been seen or heard from since. If you have any information concerning this case, The FBI asks that you contact the Salt Lake City's field office at 801-579-1400 or the Blackfeet Law Enforcement Services at 406-338-4000. And you also may contact your local FBI office as well if you have any information regarding Ashley's whereabouts. This is so sad, but there are so many Indigenous women in the United States that have gone missing, and they absolutely get no coverage whatsoever. It's just not talked about. And the fact that she went missing on Indian land, I think makes it even worse. So these are some of the things I'm going to delve into on my channel eventually, because I definitely do not feel that they get talked about at all. And I think it's extremely important because these young girls and young women are perfect targets for human trafficking. And so there you are. Ashley Loring, heavy runner. And I just can't imagine what her family must be feeling with her disappearing just like that off the face of the planet with nothing. So there's not much to talk about on her case. So obviously tonight, you guys saw what my topic was. I'm assuming anyway that you saw what my topic was for tonight. And hang on one second here. There we go. I wasn't trying to be clickbaity or anything like that. It's something that I've really been thinking about, and over the last week or so, especially with a lot of the things that I'm learning on the back end of these cases. And as we continue to investigate and we have so much information, it really makes me wonder if we've got it all wrong when it comes to Delphi. And the only reason that I'm saying that is because so much over the last, and we've talked about this before, guys, but so much has happened over the last 5.5 years in this case. And most of what we know is not from law enforcement. It's from rumor and speculation by people with sourcing and sources and all of that on social media. And a lot of these groups have people in them that, claim to be locals, and they know this and they heard that kind of thing. And I ran across an interview that I had forgotten about. Doug Carter gave this interview in February of 2022 to News Nation. It's not the sit-down one that he had with the gentleman reporter. It's the one he had where he was live, and it was with the nightly news lady. I can't think of her name off the top of my head. But I re-listened to that today, re-listened to that interview. And it was really telling to me the questions that he refused to answer, and the things that he revealed. She point blank asked him if there are two suspects. And he emphatically said no. He emphatically told her no. And she was talking about the I will also link in the description box below this interview. So if you guys want to go putting if you guys want to go listen to it later or whatever. But anyway, he told her that, because her question to him was, the sketches are so confusing because they don't look like the same person at all, and it makes people think that there may be two. And he said no. He also told her that every single thing that law enforcement has done since the very beginning has been strategic and planned and well thought out. And as I was listening to him and I was letting all of this kind of sink in, I was like, I believe him. I really do believe this man. I believe that that's one reason why they're quiet. They don't want to tip their hand. She asked him, she referenced the sit-down interview that he had on News Nation, and she asked him about why he felt that Bridge Guy was watching, because he makes a reference in that video to the fact that he feels he is, and he looks directly at the camera. And he told her that he believes that this person, whoever this is that has committed these crimes, these murders, has been watching since day one and is very interested in what everyone is talking about, interested in finding out what law enforcement knows, and especially knows about him, and that he is absolutely certain that he is watching, and that he even told her he feels that he's probably watching their conversation that night. And I've said all along that I feel that Bridge Guy watches. For a number of reasons, but especially with what Doug Carter said. He wants to know what everybody is thinking. He wants to know what facts are out there and what non-facts are out there, because I think he likes the fact that there are untruths and lots of speculation. And I mean, stop and think about it. The farther people get away from him, the better it is for him. So the more crazy the speculation and the rumor mill, the better off it is for Bridge Guy. And we've all heard them. We know that there's all kinds of speculation out there that just doesn't warrant any basis in fact at all. And I know I've heard people, and I'm sure that I will get trolled about this, but that's fine. I don't care. That nobody knows anything to be factual, so we can have these opinions. And that's not true. If you guys listen to Cop Facts and you respect Perry Freeman as much as I do, then you have to listen to what he tells us. And he tells us there's some things that you have to do in a murder case to get to the suspect. You have to figure out opportunity. Is the person you're considering, did they have the opportunity? Did they have the means to do it, to do the crime? Opportunity and the means. Did they have the motive? And if so, what is the motive? Because a lot of times, once you get to motive, you can figure out who it is. Once you have the motive. And those are really important. And a lot of the stuff that we hear over the 5.5 years of the speculation and the rumor, it doesn't stand up to that test. You have to be able to place your person of interest at the bridge, in the woods, with the girls. And if you can't do that, then you are dead in the water. And this guy's not, I don't know that he's the brightest person in the world, but he's most definitely not stupid and or ignorant at all. He wouldn't have been able to get away with this for 5 years if that were the case. But I definitely think that he is sitting back and thinking, wow, I really did get away with this. But I really wonder if we have it all wrong. And is it possible, is it truly possible that the person that the law enforcement is looking at is not anybody's name or face that we have seen yet on social media? And I believe that that is highly, highly possible. We have never seen this guy. This guy's never been talked about before. Now, is he some way associated with some of the people that we may have heard about? Most definitely possible. I think that is very, very possible. Whether it be a friend, a relative, a coworker, somehow this person is going to be associated with somebody in this case. And I also, that we've already talked about, and I also believe, and I'm going to keep saying it because I've been saying it for a long time, somebody in power or that has a lot of power in this community is somehow related, in my opinion, to this case. And I think that that will be the shock that everybody's supposed to get at. You know, we've all been told that it's going to be shocking. And I keep going over in my mind, what is it that's going to shock us so badly? And Pookie, I so agree with you. I firmly and absolutely agree with that statement. Bridge Guy has not been publicly mentioned, but I do believe he is associated with some of the POIs that have been mentioned. So, and it's just something I feel, I just think it's very possible that we have it wrong. People have grabbed on to a lot of, I want to say, the speculation, the unnamed sourcing that goes on around this case, and they put it out on social media as fact, and they did it very early on, and people ran with it. People ran with it. Anthony Greeno did it. You know, he was out there and supposedly was interviewing people and talking to people that shared their heart with him and told him things that nobody else heard or nobody else knew. And it got legs. It grew. Bitter Beat Poet, Doug Rice, is a person who is very well known on Reddit. I don't know how well people know about him on YouTube, but he was a semi-local who went to Delphi. He doesn't live there, but he lives near there. And he went to Delphi and interviewed people and was told things. And he brought those things back to Reddit and shared them, and they became fact. And if you go to Reddit and try to dispel some of the things that Doug Rice said, you will be vilified, because those people over there absolutely and totally bought into this. And God rest his soul, he's no longer with us. He did pass away He was an older gentleman. And in no way do I think he was trying to put false information out there. But what yeah, meow, it is. There's a lot that happens over there on Reddit, as you well know. But all I'm saying is that it's like I talked about the other night with sources. You guys have to be careful about what you hear and run with as fact. Because it grows legs, and before long, it's like a game of telephone, and it starts out with this fact or this information, and by the time you get way over here, you've got all these people that have changed it. They've added things, they've twisted things around, words get added that weren't said, and there you go. I mean, it becomes a nightmare. I mean, we have got, if you stop and think about the case of the Delphi murders, we've got drugs, and we've got judges not being on the up and up. We've got meeting with sex workers, and then stepping down from their position because that got brought to light, and corruption, lawsuits against the sheriff, the deputies for unlawful restraint, abuse of prisoners. There's just so much going on in Carroll County that it's frightening. And I definitely think that Joseph Ash, I never once said that I didn't think Anthony Shots' profile is connected to the murders. I've never once said that. I do think it's connected. But what I'm trying to say is we may have it all wrong in the way that we're looking at this case. And just keep that in mind. Yeah, Nate Miller, Miss Thang, was the name of the police officer that supposedly committed suicide. And I say supposedly because I'm still not convinced. With everything that's going on in that county, I'm not convinced that that is true. So I'm not trying to be a conspiracy theorist here. I'm just telling you there's too doggone many coincidences. We can talk about Nate Miller, and we can talk about the fact that he was a police officer in Monticello for over 20 years and worked with Stephanie Thompson. Stephanie Thompson, we talked about on Tuesday night. She lost her life in a suspicious fire in February along with her daughter. You do not think that that's really odd that a man she worked with for over 20 years kills himself? It doesn't happen. It's so rare, it's not even funny. They don't do it on duty. Police officers do commit suicide, but it's very rare that they do it on duty. And he was on duty. And, you know, Doug Carter was asked in the video interview that I was talking about Anthony Shots and about Kagan Klein and what it has to do with Delphi and the murders. And what Doug Carter said was, we have gotten a lot of information since we released the Anthony Shots profile. Whether or not it's related to Delphi will remain to be seen. So, I mean, I'm like, you know, you just have to listen to what they're saying and what's being said. Hey, Deidre, good to see you. I don't understand how some of these people allow themselves to look at certain things but not look at everything. And you have to be able to look at everything. You can't just narrowly look at what makes sense to you when you are examining a case. And sometimes that's exactly what happens, not only with us, but with law enforcement. They will get tunnel vision on a certain person and they will not look at anyone else because they absolutely believe that they're right. And a lot of times they're wrong. And then they don't want to admit that because it makes them look bad. And we all know that optics is important. Exactly, Purdue. They also said it was not related to social media. And they told us that in the beginning. They said there was no catfishing. There was nothing related to social media. And the family came out and said the same thing. And now here we are. So we know for a fact that Libby was talking to a profile named Anthony_Shots. We know that. We know that Kagan talked to her the morning that she disappeared, or the morning that she didn't disappear, but that she went missing and was murdered. So those are all red flags, and those all make him look pretty guilty or pretty suspect. But it doesn't, it's not complete, because you have to be able to place him there. And what's his motive? So there's just a lot of things. And then you've got somebody else in the household that's using other profiles, Emily Ann, to speak to underage girls and ask them if they're interested in older men. I definitely agree with you, Cryptex, on the fact that the case has an evolution. And I, for one, being female, I thought in the very beginning that it was social media related or possible, because I know how girls are, and I know how much they like to converse and talk to one another. And social media is such an easy way nowadays. And I had teenager grandchildren. I know how they are on social media and talking to their friends. And Snapchat was a huge thing with this age group. It's the way they like to communicate. So it didn't surprise me to find out any of that. I just think that there's just a lot. And when you really cover the case, you have to, it's like I said before, I'm an old school person. Even though everything's electronic and technology nowadays, I'm old school about keeping notes and being a note taker. And I take notes on everything. And even when I'm listening to other podcasters or other shows or whatever, I take notes. When I do listen to interviews, I take notes. One of the big things they used to make fun of me at on Reddit, on my Reddit sub, was because I would spend days writing down transcripts of interviews of exactly word for word what was said. I did it for the HLN podcast down the hill. I did the whole thing and put it out on Reddit. And people, like, Kristen will do it. Just wait for her. She'll do it. So it's just one of the things that I do. And when you start taking notes on this case, I'm serious when I said the other night we should have a big board where we can plot this all out like they do on television, with the photographs and the string and the punch pegs, because there's going to be a lot of things that overlap, I'm afraid, in this case, that's going to be shocking. Just because of the stuff that we are uncovering. Those of us that are deep diving into Flora and the Carroll County corruption. There's just a lot that we're finding out. And I definitely believe that, right, he does. He doesn't have a license because he has seizures. And so he's not able to get a driver's license because of that. And I don't know that he's ever driven or not. I don't know if I was a person who, I don't know if he's epileptic or what kind of seizures he has, but I certainly wouldn't want to risk anyone's life by getting behind a wheel of a car knowing that I have seizures. So I don't know, but you know, he may very well drive. I don't know. I have no way of knowing that for sure. But he does not have a license to drive. Let's put it that way. So yeah, I know you cannot drive with epilepsy. Yeah. Hey, Grismatically. I haven't seen you forever. How are you, my dear? So good to see you. You need to go look at my new website and look at the support page on the website, Grizz, and see what I made for you. I made something for all my moderators on my website. So you guys need to take a look at that if you haven't seen it. But yeah, like I said, I definitely think it's very possible that this person is somehow connected to the Kleins. I don't know if this person might be a friend, a relative, a coworker. It may not be actually them. So we just need to keep our eyes open for that, you know. There's just a lot. And law enforcement can lie. They can tell things that are not true when they are interrogating people that are in jail. So we all know that. And if you follow any kind of law or know of, if you have people in your family like I do who are in law enforcement, they will tell you exactly what goes on in interrogations, and how they try to coerce, not really coerce, but because it's against the law, but try to really put pressure on the people they investigate to get them to give them the information that they want. And there's really a psychology behind it. And they do use things that aren't factual to try to get them to flip. Happen. Whether it happened in Kagan's case, I don't know. I just know that Vito did a really good job asking him all of the pertinent questions. And he actually told him that they didn't believe it was him. So that's pretty interesting, right? And I just have a trouble with blanket statements. People like to throw out blanket statements, or, you know, they make things seem statistical when they have no statistics to back up what they're saying, things like that. And so I'm really careful with those kind of individuals, things that they say. So I'm trying to keep up with the chat a little bit here and see what's going. CJK, what are you talking about? I keep going back to that comment by the former Indiana reporter that covered Delphi. Her source says her police department that Kagan is the key, not responsible, but the key. I believe that that's highly possible, that he's the key. And it could be the key that he needs to break an alibi. There could be a number of different reasons. I just think we have to be careful about it, about what we're looking at. And I was thinking today, like I said, when I started listening to some of this stuff and reading some of it, and then finding out some of the things I have about the odd, the Nate Miller situation, then being connected to Sergeant Thompson, I just think that is important, and we can't overlook that. She was polygraphing for the Flora fires, and oh, cool, Grizz. I'm glad. I hope you like it. I really do. So that's really cool. So I just really think that we just need to be careful, and we could be wrong with all the speculation and all the ways that we've been going on about it. And I don't care if I'm wrong. I just want Bridge Guy caught. I'm not here to prove that I'm right. I'm not here to demand that everyone believe what I say is the absolute truth, and there's no way for you to think any other way. You guys know me. I'm not that way at all. All I can say is I don't feel that some of these people we've covered or talked about are good people. And I don't believe Tony Kline is a good person. For sure, with the background things that we've heard, I just don't. And if Kegan Kline was sharing his Dropbox either with known individuals or unknown individuals, that could be huge, you guys. That could be huge. So, but just remember that the way we look at things sometimes is not the way we should be looking at them, and try to stay away from your confirmation bias when we're looking at this case. It's so easy to get wrapped up in that, and not on purpose. It's because we're human and we all have biases. So we have to try to remember that, I wanted to talk about some of the stuff that Meow Zedong has been working on the Flora 4 Reddit sub. She has put out a ton of information over there. And one of the things, I don't know if I can get this open any bigger. I'm going to try to pull it over here so I can see it. Hold on. I have to put my... Talk on it. Sorry, guys. There we go. That's what I wanted to do. She's been posting a lot of information about Flora. And we can say what we want, but Carroll County's messed up. And there is some major things that are going on there. And I still say, I don't know who it is that doesn't want these cases solved. I still feel almost like there's a mantra on social media of put out the most crazy stuff, keep the waters muddied and people focused on the crazy so that people are not looking at me. And I've followed true crime. I've covered true crime myself for a very long time. And I don't ever remember a case like this. Now, I've heard that there's crazy surrounding the Summer Wells case, equally as bad as Delphi. I have not gotten myself embedded in that. I have my own opinions about that case, but I keep those to myself, and I haven't really covered Summer. I'm aware of what's, for the most part, going on there. I try to keep up, but Carroll County has got some serious issues, and they need to wake up. I mean, it's possible, Jane. I mean, any of that stuff is possible. She's asking if it could be gang related. Of course it could. We don't know. We just don't know. Hey there, Unsolved. How are you? You're wonderful. Thank you so much for your kind donation. I appreciate it, and I appreciate you so very much. She's basically telling us that we need to share the truth. We need to focus upon facts prior to buying into speculation. And it's really hard to do. There is some really compelling arguments out there for some of these scenarios. And I'm the first one to admit it. But you can't just look at it from one side. Our good friend Cop Facts has told us over and over again the elements in which we need to have to consider a person a suspect. So, moving on to Flora, we're going to talk a little bit tonight about a deposition. I'd like to talk a little bit about the depositions, but I wanted to talk about the deposition that Galen Rose gave. There's some excerpts that were posted on the subreddit, and I will link that down below in the description box for people who want to go look that up later. And, you know, with everything happening in the Delphi case and the Flora case, all I will say is this. I do believe everything that I tell you guys. I'm not just spattering words just to spatter words out here at you. I actually believe that Bridge Guy's days are numbered. I think that they have him in the crosshairs, and I think that they are working, just like Doug Carter said in the interview, everything. Oh, Perry, thank you so much. I'm glad you're listening. I always know you're out there listening. But I do believe his days are numbered. They have him in the crosshairs. They're going to get him. And I believe Doug Carter said it well. They are strategic in everything they do. It's all planned. And one day, Doug Carter is going to be able to stand before us and tell us exactly what happened. And all the things that we've been questioning will be answered for us. And then maybe it'll all make sense. And even though it doesn't all make sense today, it will eventually. And we all want the same thing. I don't think any of us that are in here tonight don't want Bridge Guy caught. I think we all want Bridge Guy. And the sooner the better. So that's what I'll say on that. And my heart and prayers are with the girls. I want justice for them so badly. And, you know, I wear their bracelet every single day. I won't take it off until he's arrested and convicted. And I would wear one for Flora if I had one. I definitely think that it's coming. And I will be really surprised if it doesn't happen. So I thought this was an interesting deposition. So I wanted to share some of it with you. So this deposition was of Galen Rose. And this has come out on the Flora 4 Reddit sub. So you were living with your father. Yes, I was. And at some point you moved out of his house. Yes, sir. Where did you move to? To the Columbia Street apartment. Okay. And if my memory is right, was that May of 2016? Yes. So somebody asked in here, oh, Alicia, that would be awesome. Thank you. I have a whole bunch of these bracelets, guys. And one of the things that I'm going to be doing is I'm going to start having a drawing on my lives every time I have a live. And I'm going to start giving these away. So that's one of the things that's going to be coming. So watch for that. And so if you guys want an Abby and Libby bracelet, keep your eye out because that's coming very soon. Yeah, I'm not giving away a car, just a bracelet. I wish I could give away a car. So somebody on the other night asked when Galen moved into the Columbia Street address. It was in May of 2016. I know Oprah did it, but I'm not Oprah. I don't have her means. Yeah, I could get a toy car. We could get some Matchbox cars I could give away. How did you learn of that house being for rent? I don't remember. Did you have a walkthrough of that? I guess I should back up. When we talk about the house or the apartment, we're talking about the 103 East Columbia Street, Flora, Indiana. Is that your understanding as well? Yes, sir. From here on out, I'll probably just call it the property or the apartment, and that's what I'm referring to. Okay. Did you have an opportunity to do a walkthrough of that apartment before you began renting it? Yes. What did you think of it? I liked it. Did it appear to be clean to you? Yes. It appeared to be a nice place. Yes. Did you have any concerns about the apartment at that time? No. Okay. It didn't look like a junky house or apartment or anything. No. When you moved in to that apartment or that house, did you have any sense of how long you would stay there? No. Okay. Did you have any plans of being in Flora for a few years or permanently? No. Okay. Did you have any plans to leave? Not in a short span, but more like in the future. What were those plans in the future generally? Just to actually find something a little bit better, somewhere different, more shopping centers, probably a little bit like a city. Oh, so bigger city than Flora. Yes, sir. Okay. And so, okay, did you know Josh Ayers before you moved into that apartment? No, sir. I'm sorry, just 1 second here. Did you know Troy Helderman? No, sir. Did anyone recommend that house or apartment to you? No. Okay. Hey, Gonzo. How are you? So good to see you, my friend. Big hugs. Lots of love. When you moved, after you moved in, did you have any problems with the apartment? Yes. Okay, what were the problems? Electricity, plumbing, and that's about it. Okay, what about the electricity? I had a water leak in the kitchen. Okay, is that the plumbing or electricity? I had water leaking out of the out of the ceiling where the light fixture was. Okay, so what I'm curious about is when you say water and electricity or the plumbing and electricity, was that one and the same problem or were those separate problems? Do you know? Separate problems. Okay, separate. So the electricity is the problem you were describing with water near the light on the ceiling. In the kitchen, yes. In the kitchen, okay. When did you notice this? That happened maybe some months after I moved into the apartment. Okay, how did you discover it? It was literally water coming from the ceiling, like you would turn on the faucet at your house. Okay, are you saying then it was dripping from the middle of the room down onto the floor or something? Yes. So when you noticed it, what did you do? I called the landlord. Who is that? Josh Ayers. Okay. Did you get a hold of him? I did. And what did you tell him? I was just pretty much explaining to him that what the problem was and what was happening. And then he referred me and told me that he would send Climatech people out. Did they come out? Yes. Just so you know, Josh Ayers owns Climatech. Do you remember who that was? No. Did they fix the problem? To my knowledge, yes, but I don't think it was fixed. What do you mean by that? The water stopped leaking, but I still had problems with my electricity. Okay, all right. After you called Josh Ayers and he said Climatech would come out, do you remember how long it was until the Climatech people came out? No. Okay, was it within a short time? Yes. Okay, Climatech came out and they they made the water stop leaking and they did it pretty promptly. What did you say? Yeah, I'm sorry. Climatech came out and they fixed the water issue and they did it pretty early. They fixed the leaking and they did it fairly promptly. Yes. After Climatech came out and the water was no longer leaking, did you have any more problems with the water leaking? The electricity would go out. Okay, all right. And I'm going to talk about that in 1 second. But after Climatech came out and made the water not leak anymore, did you ever have that issue where it would fall from the ceiling down to your floor again? No. So the water leak itself, the water stopped leaking and that was never a problem anymore. But then what was the electricity problem? The breakers kept popping. Okay, and so did you tell anyone about that? Yes. Who did you tell? Josh Ayers. Okay, and what did he do? He came out and on my side, he came out and reset the breakers to where the electricity would come back on. That's all he did. Okay, does that mean he reset the breaker? Yes. Okay, did that fix the problem? Yes. Did that occur more than once? Twice. I'm sorry, it occurred twice? It occurred twice with him. And then I also had to let the girl upstairs come downstairs to switch on her breakers because she had problems with her lights going on and off as well. Okay, how often did that happen that the neighbor from upstairs would come down? Twice to my knowledge. Twice the whole time you lived there? Uh-huh. And just for the record, that was a yes. Yes, it was. I hope you know if I say that in the future, I have no intention to be rude. It's just a matter of making sure the record is clear. So if I'm understanding you correctly, Josh had to reset the breaker twice for your apartment. Then the upstairs neighbor reset it twice for her own apartment. It was 2 different tenants, so there were 2 different occasions. So your upstairs neighbor at some point switched while you were living there? Yes, sir. So did one of those reset the breaker occur with the prior neighbor? Yes. And then maybe a few months later, the new lady had a problem with her lights. Okay, and that's Courtney Dunn? Yes. All right. When you reported to Josh Ayers that you were having the problem with the electricity, did he address that quickly? Yes. And did you have any other problems with the apartment before the fire? No. Is this a no for the record? No. Okay. Is there anything else that you would have called Josh for and asked him to fix? No. So, these documents that I did read from are public domain, and they are available. It's not anything that we've obtained in a nefarious way or underhanded way. I just want to let you know that. And there are a ton of documents that are posted there. So she notified him of all of the issues that she had with the apartment. Every single time she had an issue, she was deposed by it, and she told him about all of the problems. And she was having problems with her electricity going off and on. And he supposedly came out and it was just a mere breaker issue. Now, like I said before about Flora, there is so much going on here that we are not even covering, because we have to be really careful about what we say and how we say it. But there are a lot of fires in and around Carroll County and the 6-county area that UCU covered in her videos that we've brought forth to talk about. And these fires cannot be ignored. But yet some people act as if we should be ignoring them. What I think is funny, when somebody in our group called Flora to inquire about the fire department and the money that they accepted at the 4-H fair on last Thursday night, a week ago, and was told that they didn't know anything about collecting any money or anything about where it went. In fact, they even said that on live television, that they weren't aware of any money yet and what they were going to do with it. And I'm like, how can that be when it was advertised by the community center in Flora that you were being presented a check in the center ring where they show the cows at the 4-H fair last Thursday night at 6 p.m. So how could you not know that you were being presented this money? How did you not know ahead of time? How did you not know? These are the things like this that need to be talked about and brought out, because somebody just doesn't like being honest in that town. And I don't understand why. There was a document filed 2 days ago in Carroll County. There's a civil rights lawsuit that's been filed against Deputy Yoder, Sheriff Lesenby, and Carroll County. And it was it's a civil rights lawsuit because the person who filed it states their civil rights were how do you say it? My brain is going crazy here with all this stuff in my head. I'm so sorry. That they broke their civil rights, the person's civil rights, when they arrested them and how they arrested them. And there's some really interesting things. I mean, they're being charged with brutality and excessive force in an arrest. Thank you, Bridget. Thank you so much. That was the word I'm looking for, violated. The person's civil rights were violated. So yes, Savannah, they now have 2 lawsuits against them for brutality and excessive force. And this one includes Deputy Yoder, who was also he was the first responder at the Flora fires who tried to get the girls out, along with Josh Dissinger. So here at one point, and obviously, they've been charged. It doesn't mean that they're guilty. We have to say that. But at the same time, the optics of this is just not good. And the deposition that was released talks about what happened to this person, and it's just not a good look. So, talking about Flora, talking about Stephanie Thompson, talking about Josh Ayers and the fact that he was probably polygraphed, or not probably, we know for a fact he was polygraphed by Stephanie, and the fact that Stephanie ends up dying in an extremely suspicious fire. I just can't tell you how this needs to be blown up somewhere in the news media, and news media outlets need to be picking this up and talking about this rather than sitting there quietly like crickets. I mean, everybody's complaining about how quiet everything has been around Delphi. My God, it's so quiet around Flora. It's even worse. And I do feel bad for some of these people who were doing, I mean, obviously they were just doing their jobs, and this is what happens to them. And it's just highly suspect and very suspicious. And we need to pay attention to that. And we need to make sure that while we are paying attention, that we're speaking out. Every chance we get, we speak out. So I appreciate you guys so much, because you always bring, sorry, I'm having an issue with my headphone. All my hair gets caught in it. I absolutely appreciate every single one of you guys for being here. All of you who come just regularly to spend time with me to discuss all this stuff. And those of you who take time out of your busy lives and busy schedules to email me with your ideas or thoughts on these cases. Those of you who are doing your own research and sending stuff to me every day, please know I appreciate you more than anything. And just because I don't answer you right away doesn't mean that I don't appreciate it. I just get so much. And it's I don't know, it's just it's a lot. And I know it's a lot for you guys too. And I just think we need to take a big step and ask ourselves, why would a community not want this kind of a case to be solved? Why do people in power not want this case to be solved? I just can't imagine taking 4 little girls that have perished in a house fire out of that house and go and lay them on concrete in a firehouse on the floor before the coroner ever gets there to do his pronouncement, and before the CSI, the crime scene techs, were able to come and get the information. That to me is so highly suspect. Whose idea that was, I have no idea. I was having a conversation today with UCU, and she said to me, Unsolved Crime is amazing, by the way, you guys. I can't say enough about her. I love her to death. But anyway, we were having a conversation today, and we were talking about, these guys, these firemen. We love firemen. I'm not here to throw firemen under the bus. I mean, they're amazing. Anybody who's willing to run into a burning building has to be a little suspect crazy to me, but I'm so thankful for them, because these men and women who choose this profession and put their lives literally on the line every day for us, and especially in huge cities where there is tons and tons of structural fires, they're amazing. Now, in these little smaller towns, I'm not saying these guys aren't amazing, but they're volunteer firemen. These men didn't choose this profession. They have other jobs. They have other callings. And they do this as a side gig. And it's because they live in such a small community, they can't afford to pay for a full-fledged fire department. And I often wonder if some of these smaller communities that have these volunteer firemen and fire districts, if they actually get the kind of training that they actually need. Because that's something that needs to be looked into. These communities that are suffering these horrific fires with fire deaths of children over and over again, to the tune of up to 1,500% higher than the CDC average should be. 1,500%, you guys. That means that something is amiss. And I think that somebody needs to address that and be willing to talk about it. I don't even know about basic procedure, Tamara, because, who in the world showed up at Columbia Street and broke out all the windows? Who in their right mind knows that that would be a good thing to do? Why would you break out the windows? You're letting oxygen into a fire. It's going to just go up like a matchstick. Now, I get it. If it's a window where you think there's somebody that's trying to get out of the house, I can certainly see that. I can certainly see someone doing that, but not just walk around and break out all the windows around the house. That just absolutely made no sense to me. We all know it feeds a fire. We all know that oxygen is what a fire needs to be a living thing, a living, breathing thing. Without it, it dies out. So yeah, I just don't get it. So mine used to be, Jennifer, but I cut about 7.5 inches off of it back in May. I think it was May. So mine's not that long anymore. It's still pretty long, but it's not that long anymore. Tamar or Meow, what are you talking about? The garage and the access to the basement? Are you talking about the house? It is weird. Unsolved says it's absolutely devastating. And it's comparing Indiana fire mortality statistics with the average U.S. National Fire Administration stats. 3 sources, projected versus actual. It's insanity. It is. And even Meow Zedong, when she called and spoke to Indiana's head fire marshal, the head guy in the state, he told her, yeah, we have a lot of fires. I mean, they're aware at the state level. So yeah, mine does too. Mine does too. Okay, so you have to go in through the garage to get access to the basement of the house. Interesting. That sounds weird. But so I was just going to go back here real quick and look at some of you guys' comments. Did you guys notice how a lot of people left when I stopped talking about Delphi? There's a lot of people still watching. I just don't see a lot of people commenting about Flora right now. I just thought that was interesting. Alicia, thank you so much. She is one of a kind. I cannot say enough about it. What are you guys talking about with Tech Death with his hair? It's funny. My grandson, he's going to be 5 in October. He's never had his hair cut. He's blonde and he's got curly hair and it just hangs in ringlets down his back. And his mom doesn't want his hair cut and I don't want his hair cut. I love his hair. It is absolutely beautiful. And I'm just like, nope. And so he started preschool last week and he's doing fine. There's times when people think he's a girl because you know how that is, but you ask him if he wants his hair cut and he says, absolutely not. Yeah, I'm just going to say this, keep saying over and over again about Flora and how the difference is when you're doing a live stream and you're talking, and I don't always put Flora and Delphi together. You guys know that. A lot of times I do separate shows on them, but a lot of the stuff that I've been finding lately, there's some connections, even though people don't want it to be connected, and you can't overlook those connections. So yeah, that's pretty telling, Meow, that Galen had to leave the door open for Courtney and Savannah. That's pretty interesting, I thought too. So even I noticed the difference between the coverage that I do and the lack of interest. See, even CJK said, it wasn't until I listened to creators did I realize that Flora was actually arson. When I first saw it on the news, I didn't hear arson, just thought it was a sad, tragic house fire. Yeah, see, that's the problem, because it was originally reported as an accidental fire. So there's just a lot of weird coincidences and connections of people. And I get it's a small area, so people are going to know each other. People are going to move around, because I think I've noticed that a lot about where you've got firemen becoming troopers, or they're becoming county police or city police, vice versa. So Josh Dissinger used to be a fireman. And so, let's see. That's funny, Alicia says. Unsolved crimes, I really hope they are looking into why we have so many fires in Indiana. I know ISP got your video because I sent it to them and then had to tell them where to find it on YouTube. Wow. Yeah, and Michelle, that's what it seems like. It's certainly what it seems like. I hope we're wrong, because that's so scary, but it's certainly what it seems like. They still have not come out and said the cause of that fire, and it was in February, and we're already into almost the beginning of August. And I know the ATF is looking into it. So I think it's interesting that we still don't have a cause of that fire. I like this. Bridget says, the legal and political players here feel very incestuous, if you ask me. They're all connected. And yeah, it's hard to look away from that and to feel that. So and Digital says, I'm confused about Elder Randall. I thought he announced it was not arson before anyone knew he was going to make that announcement. When did he change his mind? Meow, are you still in here? Do you want to answer that? Because you're probably more familiar with the dates and stuff of when that happened. But anyway, you guys, that was all I wanted to talk to you guys about tonight. I really wanted to just kind of go over both of those things. Now, with these depositions that are out there for you guys to go look at and read, I highly suggest that you do, because there is some really interesting information in them. And it'll help you, for those of you that really want to look at this stuff, it'll really help you to better understand what's at play here and what's going on. I know a lot of people will say, oh, they're just lying. You know, it's against the law to lie in a deposition. So I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but it is against the law. So if you get caught, the price is pretty steep for lying in, you know, because it's considered lying to a court of law. But she's really put out a lot of good information on her sub, and continues to do so. They're working really, really hard over there to get us good information. And hey, Pigeon Mac, how are you? It's good to see you. And she says, Unsolved says that he then resigned. I can guarantee Dennis took heat, and he did the right thing by reporting it for what it was. Oh, I'm sure he did. I definitely think he took heat, and they used the excuse that he did not follow procedure before he made that determination. So yes, I thought the same thing, Savannah, until I actually got to talk to her on video chat, and she's absolutely beautiful. And if you didn't get to see her, you can go see her on our live stream that we did last week. She's amazing, so amazing, so smart. She's doing really great work. I just can't say enough about her, but I told her the same thing. I thought you were a guy. It's because she's got a guy with a bag over his head holding a gas can. That's her. That's her photograph. We're talking about you, Meow. We're talking about you, my dear. So, yeah. Oh, I really would like to get together with Chris, you guys. I really do like him a lot. And I would really like to, I'd like to collaborate with him on something. I think it would be great. He's amazing. Monsters Under the Bed, you guys. If you haven't checked him out, go check him out. He's got an excellent channel. But yeah. So you guys are great. But anyway, I'm going to get out of here. I wanted to give you guys that little bit tonight and see about where we're going from here. I thought I would have an update on the Kristen Smart case tonight. Unfortunately, I didn't get much of that. So I will try to get that for Saturday night. Oh yeah, that's right. Mod Crew, new name. Sorry. And so I will definitely try and get that so I can get an update on Kristen. And you're very welcome, Pigeon. No problem at all. Thanks for stopping in. So appreciate you. And Country Girl, thank you for being here. I'm sorry that you missed it, but yeah, definitely watch the replay. And guys, don't forget that if you are out and about and for whatever reason you can't catch me on YouTube, you can now watch me live on my website. So you can click there as well and watch me live from the World Wide Web. So I appreciate everything. I hope you all have a good, safe evening and weekend. And I will plan on seeing you guys all on Saturday night. Good night, everyone, and be safe out there.
Bye.